It was an impressive sight watching the USS Iowa steam into the Norfolk Naval Station. This is the picture that'll be on the newspaper front pages and the magazine covers. The Iowa, attention, accompanied on its trip to the dock by a flotilla of boats from the Norfolk area. But there was a reason that the ship was home early from a training voyage. The guns of the No. 2 gun turret were tilted at that weird angle at which they were frozen when powder inside exploded, and 47 of the gunners died. A Navy photojournalist pretty well summed it up.
That makes me shiver, actually. How come? I think that this could happen and all those people could die. And all we can do is sit back and photograph it.
As it made its way to the dock, the crews of all surrounding ships, their flags at half-staff, lined up to pay their respects. The homecoming drew attention from all over the country. Media from up and down the East Coast converged on Pier 5 in Norfolk.
The No. 2 turret comes into view now as this gigantic warship docks here at Pier 5 at the Norfolk Naval Station.
And so did the families of the officers and sailors. As soon as the gangplanks were lifted into place, families streamed aboard. It was a joyous, happy time for these sailors and their families. Survived a tragedy at sea. Dave Bullock, WTVD 11 News.
Kidney stone.
Lunch at Trina Abdelkader's Norfolk apartment today was a group kind of thing. Cutting carrots, celery, and cauliflower.
You don't have to cut it. All you have to do is break it apart.
Yeah.
Her husband, Amin, whose family lives in Pittsburgh, is a gun control specialist on the USS Iowa. And today, two of his best friends were at the house helping his wife, Trina, get ready for the homecoming. For all the anticipation and excitement, the emotion was obviously high as Trina tried to talk about the homecoming.
Well, I'm going down here and wait for him, and when he gets off the ship, I'll just be glad he's home.
Harold Henson was a member of the Iowa crew until just 5 weeks ago. Were he still on the ship when the accident happened last week, he could have been a casualty.
I knew most of the people that worked in the turrets, and I had a lot of good friends that were in the accident.
The Navy's a lot like family, so when the powder exploded, ex-crew members like Henson and Joel Krause gave their free time to the families.
Like Trina, she didn't know where Amin worked. Told her what he would have been doing during a gun shoot, which he's a radar operator. He wouldn't have been in the turret.
For the most part, the talk was light, kind of like killing time until it was time to head for the dock, where in just a short while, the Iowa would be docking for a homecoming that at the same time was both joyous because Amin and other crew members were coming home, and very, very sad because 47 of their friends were not. When the USS Iowa came home yesterday, there were 30 men atop each gun turret, except turret 2, where there were only 5. Because they were somewhere else when the powder blew up, they were the only members of their unit still alive. 47 others were dead. You have come to know Amin Abdelkader, whose family lives near Pittsburgh. Today he wonders why they had to die.
So far in our back of our mind, knowing something like that would happen, we expected, we know that if we go to war, something like that would happen. To happen during a peacetime, it really hurts.
The President of the United States also wants to know why.
I promise you today we will find out why, the circumstances of the tragedy, but in a larger sense, there will never be answers to the questions that haunt us. We will not, cannot, as long as we live, know why God has called them home.
But the captain of the Iowa at a news conference this afternoon says no one yet knows why.
There's a lot of theories. Unfortunately, all the witnesses died.
Captain Fred Masali says he can think of no reason for the explosion.
That was my best turret. That was my best crew on there. There was no indication that we had problems. We've never feared on there that something like this might happen, because we wouldn't take people in there if we did.
Aboard ship, aboard the Iowa today, there was little sign of damage. Gun 2 is still tilted while the investigation continues.